This is one for the history books. So they originally had drafted up the bill in 2022 that there was going to be low potent THC, but it was like 0.01. Okay?
Right.
Oh, that's nothing.
So you can't get
Yes.
you can't get a high. Well,
Get a mouse high.
last minute before the deadline at midnight, I believe it was May, all of a sudden one party decided to slide in there, change the numbers up enough so that you could get high.
And then
Now,
they had
the other
THC,
party
they had
didn't catch it.
deltas, Yep.
The other part didn't catch it. Okay,
They
go.
did not.
So the gavel came down, smack. This has all been agreed to. This bill is good to go. They open up the bill to read the fine print. People are getting high now.
That's adult use high.
That's how it happened.
Adult
Yeah.
use.
0.05,
Yeah.
enough to get high.
Right.
And so now basically the cat was let out of the bag. You can't put the cat back in the bag. Back and forth, and they were trying to come to an agreement on getting the Minnesota cannabis bill passed. And then I don't want to use colors or what side of the road they're on, but let's just say one party decided to throw in, which is called social equitable applicants. You can imagine what party that is. But anyways, that would mean they originally had different categories, and a lot of them were completely illegal in redlining, but they eventually got it passed. Everybody shook on it. Everybody agreed upon it. And then the only problem is that there was no infrastructure in place here in Minnesota. So the bill was passed. Unfortunately, we didn't even have a department that was going to control how cannabis was operated. So
What month in
that was
2023?
May. That was May of last year.
Okay, May 2023.
So August 1st of last year,
Okay.
marijuana in certain aspects was legalized. There was no licenses, zero.
Right.
But a person could have up to 8 plants in their house. They could have 2 pounds of marijuana. They could go out and about of their house with 10 grams of vape cartridge.
No cards necessary. Adult use over 18, over 21. What was the rules? What are the rules?
It was 21 and over, and you could have. Remind me, it was a whole year there, but we had 8 plants you could grow. 4 of those could be flowering. The other 4 had to be in a green state.
Yep.
And then you could have 10 vape cartridges on you. You could have, was it
2 ounces in public
2 ounces
space,
in public
2
space of
pounds in
flower?
private.
Okay. So August 2023, we have a lot of stuff coming up from California.
But here's
That's
what
being
blew
sold
up.
everywhere.
Here's what
Yeah.
blew up. The black market, the underground market blew
Yes.
up. So I could go behind Walmart,
Mis amigos in
with a
Sinaloa.
pound of flour, and I could gift it to you or donate it to you
Yes.
in the back parking lot right in front of law enforcement, and there's nobody to enforce it.
Or you'd sell a bag and it would just contain product.
It was
that
like a
didn't
frat
know-
party. Remember when you
Okay.
go to a frat party and you bought, from the keg, and you just
bought
gave
the cup.
donations?
Right.
Remember those days?
Yeah, no. I'll never forget when I have to explain to El Chapo what gifting means.
So
No, we know no gift here, senor.
Yeah, that's
Make
right.
American green cash.
it was just donations taking place. Facebook pages were popping up everywhere. Minnesota gifting, Minnesota
Yeah.
donations. They'd last about a week. All of a sudden, they'd get shut down. Unfortunately, there was already 400 pounds of cannabis or flower sold via the Facebook page.
Why was I not here making money?
Oh, you weren't?
Yeah, Destiny, we need to start learning how to break the law.
Yeah.
But we're not breaking the law
Nope.
here.
No, it was the Wild West. As
No.
long as you said gifting or donations, you were completely legit.
Yep.
What about hemp? I mean, because everybody's using the hemp loophole.
Then,
you could say
what
like,
was
oh
going on
no,
with
officer,
hemp?
this is hemp.
This is hemp.
Yeah.
Hemp was good all the way up until they passed the law and then they required a license, which they didn't hand out. Then it just had to be low potency, so under 5 milligrams per serving.
So let's rewind the clock all the way back
keep
to
going, keep going.
2022. Is anybody aware of how THC got legalized in Minnesota?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's a
good
great story.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
great.
This is one for the history books. So they originally had drafted up the bill in 2022 that there was going to be low potent THC, but it was like 0.01.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, that's
So
nothing.
you can't get
Yes.
you can't get a high. Well,
Get a mouse high.
last minute before the deadline at midnight, I believe it was May, all of a sudden one party decided to slide in there, change the numbers up enough so that you could get high.
And then
Now,
they had
the other
THC,
party
they had
didn't catch it.
deltas, Yep.
The other part didn't catch it. Okay,
They
go.
did not.
So the gavel came down, smack. This has all been agreed to. This bill is good to go. They open up the bill to read the fine print. People are getting high now.
That's adult use high.
That's how it happened.
Adult
Yeah.
use.
0.05,
Yeah.
enough to get high.
Right.
And so now basically the cat was let out of the bag. You can't put the cat back in the bag. Now we're just heading towards everything to be completely legalized a year later. So for a whole year, dispensaries were selling not only low potency stuff, but they were selling the good stuff too. And they were not getting taxed on it.
That's when they go, hey, we got to wet our government
Yep.
beaks.
There
on this
you go.
cash.
But these are unlicensed dispensaries, right?
Oh, correct.
Correct.
Because nobody has a license. Even today, right now, nobody has a license.
Well, they got low
Any-
potency out, but other
low
than that,
potency, yeah. We're talking the good stuff
Yeah.
that people want.
Yeah. So okay, that was 2022.
Yep.
So that's
so
why
for
they
a whole year
Right.
they were selling stuff out of these dispensaries. You could walk in there, you could get, didn't matter what kush, you name it, whatever strain you wanted, you could get it. You go home and get high. And these people that had these dispensaries thought that they were going to get grandfathered in. That's really why they did. So you saw these dispensaries opening up like wildfires, just opening up on every store, every corner.
right.
And they thought they were going to get grandfathered in because that's what Minnesota's based on, is mom and pop shops.
But then comes the government.
All of a sudden,
Hey, we're the fun police.
yes.
And,
So not only
LCAs.
they were not grandfathered into the bill, now they got taxed an additional. They were up at 17%.
Okay.
Nice.
I like them apples.
That's the May 2023 bill.
yes.
Okay, so what happened after May 2023,
So-
August 2023?
So the OCM was formed, Office
Okay.
of Cannabis Management. But here's the thing that I find the most interesting, and I don't want to knock the Office of Cannabis Management because we work with them on a daily. But here's what they did: instead of putting the infrastructure in place to get this stuff rolled out the quickest, the first things that they implemented was
social equity.
enforcement.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Enforcement.
Yep.
Of what? Because they're not.
They were sending people into these dispensaries to find them selling them high potent product. And they
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that seems like an interesting priority. That was like in the fall of 2023.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they start the process to issue out the licenses when?
So in May of this year, they had a revision,
Yep.
40 pages of this revision. And in it took out a lot of the social equitable applicant categories. We're no longer in that. And they sort of just tightened it up a bit. And it's been really hard because you have to go back to the original bill, which is yay thick. And then you have to look at the revisions. And then, you guys passed your bar, or we're attorneys. We're real estate agents. I'm a
Yeah.
broker, sales associate here. We're pretty good with technical lingo, but at the same time, we had to seek consultants with some of the top lawyers in the state here, and I will name drop because I think they're really good people. But Mitch Shargo and Carol Moss, who have been just amazing to work with. Absolutely,
Amazing.
stand behind them 100%. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and walking us through, so we know that we're knowledgeable in the subject. But basically, in May, they said we're going to roll out the first SEA application period midsummer.
Mhm.
These are the criterias that will be approved, and then they're going to go to a lottery.
Mhm.
And so they showed us how the portal was going to work. They told us the categories of people that would be approved. Jared and I and the rest of our team at Medical Commercial Cannabis went and attended every single thing that the state would release. We would read it, literature, go to their seminars. I mean, we thought we knew this thing like the back of our hand. But then even when we saw the portal actually get introduced to us in South Minneapolis, 38th and Portland, which if you know that area of Minneapolis, it's not a very desirable neighborhood to go to. We went there and they showed us the portal, and I've got a couple college degrees. That guy's got a couple college degrees, and we were eyes glazed over.
Now, why did they do it in that location?
That's a damn good question.
You'd have to ask them that because we thought the
Does-
same
Does
thing.
it have something to do with social equity?
Perhaps.
It may have. It might
You-
have been a.
like,
You might
I'll-
be onto something, Dimitri.
I am brown. There is no
You
limits.
might be onto something, Dimitri.
I am the happiest American alive. I
Did
can do
they
whatever
keep
the fuck I
changing
want to.
the rules in the game while you
All
were
I
playing
know
it?
is you saw
yeah,
about
that's always been
40,000
fun.
square foot auditorium.
These-
That's they introduced the map of who was going to be in these impoverished neighborhoods, and we saw a lot of very unhappy people stand up and walk out.
These three antiquated Neanderthals here, as a matter of fact, after tonight, I think they might have to give me some reparations. Sorry guys, just give me your wallet now.
Yeah.
So that's the benefits of being
So
brown.
you fast forward, they opened up a window to have these basically former military veterans, veterans that
You
had-
notice how they couldn't even comment on my joke?
I can't. It's illegal.
Exactly. You see that?
I'm not
that-
going down that road.
We just
Right.
laugh and move on.
yeah,
That's what's wrong with our country.
Next.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm not going to get political here.
Fine. We will save time for racial jokes at the
Okay.
end for Dimitri.
I am defending your guys' rights here. Well,
Hey, I
dude,
love
my
it.
dad's
I gotta
white.
be very. I'm sporting a mohawk. I gotta be
Yeah.
very careful for anything I say.
Okay, so back to the point with why they did it in that place, and then moving on from there. Sorry.
Okay, so they let us know the time period of when the window was going to open.
Yep.
There was a first phase, which was these people that were deemed in the category could apply, and that was if you were a United States military veteran with a drug conviction, if you were a poor farmer, if you were formerly convicted of a cannabis conviction, if your parents or guardians were formerly convicted of a cannabis conviction, and people that had done actual prison time or jail time, been charged with a cannabis conviction.
Or in a low poverty area.
Yep.
Or in a high cannabis related, if the police over policed an area for cannabis.
And then you'd have to prove if you moved, you had to show where you moved, you had to show that that place that you moved was into another poverty-stricken area or another area that qualified, and you basically would just go on their website, put in your, give you 4 categories of
The law originally was written so it was supposed to benefit Minnesotans to keep the business to stay in state
Yes.
and have people in state
And-
working in
And
it.
there was an assumption there, too,
Yeah,
and it was
there
it
was,
it,
yeah.
it was completely overlooked that we all assumed that this was going to be for people within the boundary of Minnesota.
That technically violates the Dormant Commerce Clause, and so that's why they because then you would have gotten sued.
You know, hold your thought with where we're going next on this journey down Minnesota cannabis. But you know, this is the problem I have when government acts and they create a mess. And the problem is that you need your government to be credible. You need your government to be trusted. You need to everyone to agree that we have faith in the government to achieve communal objectives. So when you venture into situations like this and try to manipulate and maneuver and adjust the free market and dance and do these weird things and come up with these answers that you believe are right, you're going to have a lot of people who look at the government and say, you know what? I don't trust the government
Okay,
anymore.
I got to put this out there.
And so that's what, but I tell Democrats, don't do anything that you cannot show 100% that the government came through and did a good job, because otherwise you're going to ruin the government.
I've got to put this on record, though. Okay,
Sorry.
Dimitri, I got to put this on record. I do believe, and we've had this conversation with some of the people that were part of writing this bill. It has been an absolute shit show so far, but I strongly believe that Minnesota, I grew up in Minnesota. I've lived in numerous other states. Minnesota is the land of 10,000 regulation, but there's a reason for it because they want to do everything by the book and correct.
Right.
It may have been a shit show until now, but I truly believe that once everything rolls out here next year, that other states are going to see the way that we did it and we did it right, and they're going to copy it.
Are there unlimited, are there licensing caps?
Yes.
That's wrong.
And no, and like
That's wrong. Why is that?
Because everyone should be given the opportunity. I'll tell you, licensing
I
caps,
disagree.
licensing
Totally.
caps are the most disgusting concept that was ever invented by humanity. And I'll tell you why. I know that it controls the supply, and you know, I understand the theory there. But what I have seen in different states across this union is the fact that if you're a bud tender and you go in and you start in a company, if you're an employee, and this is from the labor union, this is from the labor perspective. If you're an employee and you go in and you work and you learn how to run a dispensary, you learn how a manufacturing center works. If you learn how a cultivation center works, you take that expertise and one day you want to graduate and you want to move into the ownership class. Licensing caps create an artificial barrier to entry that the government has created. It also creates a need for capital to buy one of those licenses. I don't want to live in a world where the movement and opportunity of any human being is artificially restricted by the government. That is a very real societal concern, just like it's a real societal concern about.
Dimitri, that's a valid point. I'll give you that.
yeah,
That's a valid point, but I'm going to flip the script on you there.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So now what you're telling me is that you believe if someone was coming into the business, learning the skill set, learning how it works, learning operations, whether you got automated systems, you got all this stuff in place, a lot of very complicated stuff that you think they should graduate to get a license to operate their own business. I hear you there. But now when we have these booths set up, we usually have a booth set up at these conventions, and we have people that come up to us, and we basically screen them to see if we want to work with them or not. We have so many people come up to us that have absolutely no business being in the business of cannabis. They have no idea how business works to begin with.
Right.
They think because they've been growing in their parents' basement for the last 35 years, that qualifies them to run a cannabis business. They don't know how business accounts work. They don't know how any of the back of the
Payroll.
house payroll.
Yep.
They have no business being in this whatsoever. And when they just start handing here, Oprah, here you have a license, you have a license, you have a license.
Now the only thing is that's true in almost any
If you would have said here, Whoopi, you would have had me.
trade. Any specialty trade runs into that, though. I mean,
Right.
my background's accounting was what I originally went to school for. So I see the back of the house every day, and I deal with a lot of industries where they don't understand marketing, they don't understand payroll, they don't understand the back of the house. They know their trade. They know being a chiropractor, they know being a doctor, they know being a general contractor. They don't understand the back of the house. So you do run into that even outside of that.
Yes.
The only argument I'll make to a free market, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I do believe there should not be a long-term a limit on it. But if you look nationally at the states that did not have a limit on the licenses, places like Oklahoma, places like Ohio just
California.
did, you run into a lot of saturation into the market and you see a lot of business failing. You also see a lot of fraud that ends up coming into it because there's nobody knows who's actually licensed to do what.
What
So
we actually
having
do.
some regulation.
Be able to, that's the American dream. It really is. We have people come into our office, we have our office locally here just around France Avenue 494.
ID Dinah, Edge of Bloomington. We have people come.
We have sit-downs with them. We want to make sure that if we're going to work with them, to help consult them, that they've got the ability to move forward.
We have is pretty much dawned on them that they don't have
Right.
the resources to move forward.
And my concern isn't you as a private citizen making those determinations. My concern is the government making those determinations prior to the citizen being given a chance to fail.
Hey, it gets worse.
And yes, they should fail. And yes, they should lose their license if they fuck up.
It's
but
not their license.
It
Belongs to the state.
Oh yeah,
well,
You know, like
well,
I
I
come
mean-
from Illinois, where it is a privilege to be bestowed
I
cannabis license on it.
I just don't
and
that
it is not your property.
well, my
It's the
driver's
state's
license
property.
isn't mine either.
That's right.
Just read the back.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same.
But that
principle. Yeah.
it's like a Minority Report reality. If you remember that movie by Tom Cruise, the state predetermining what's going to happen. It's
Yeah.
a dangerous existence.
It is.
It's a fine line, but we head down that direction. We're creating a big brother like reality, and I'm such a libertarian, such a free market guy. I'd rather see a lot of failure, a lot of mistakes, a lot of people suffering than develop a system that inherently doesn't favor the individual and freedom. So that's just
So everybody should be able to start a casino.
I mean,
that's not a bad idea.
I was upset when they actually created the
Can
OCM,
I have a casino?
the Office of Cannabis Management. I
Oh,
was
that's
upset
right.
about that. That's $100 million a year in taxpayer money going into a new branch of the government to expand government control.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So because you guys are the experts, and let's move off the philosophical,
Yep.
what is right, what is wrong thing to reality of the situation.
Yep.
Somebody wants to come to Minnesota. They want to talk to Brock. They want to talk to you guys, Jared, about how Minnesota works. How do they dish it out? Cultivation, manufacturing, delivery, transportation. Talk to us about the retail structure.
Yeah.
Give me the
So there's
licensing.
15 different
structure.
licenses.
Good. There you have it.
A
Yeah.
lot.
Well,
15 different types of
a
licenses.
handful of those are for medical.
Medical low potency. Yeah.
But the thing about Minnesota is not vertically integrated. And that's one part of this equation that I don't necessarily agree with. As much as I do believe in the OCM, I do believe that the government is gonna get this all dialed in eventually. That part of it, I'm not a big fan of, that it's not vertically integrated. You're aware of what that means?
Very much so.
Obviously, yeah. So it's one of those
I'm
things where
100% against vertical integration.
really,
And vertical integration by choice, not by government
Where's your
mandate.
free market now?
yeah.
No.
where's your-
No. Vertical integration is an absolute right of every enterprise of Walmart, of Walgreens, anyone out there.
Yep.
They have the right to vertically integrate. Mandated, required, restricted vertical integration by the government is worse than communism. Mandated.
we don't have vertical integration here.
Well, and that's one step in the direction too far. They have created a law where you're not allowed
So
to be
if you're
vertical
growing,
integrated.
that's all you're doing is you're only
Correct.
cultivating.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it.
so that's wrong too. I'm just saying. I thought you were saying to require or to
No.
to
no,
require.
we
No,
were
no.
Yeah.
backwards
No,
there.
in Florida right now, you're required vertical integration.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Florida
and
You have
Arizona.
to do it all
required.
if you're doing that?
Arizona has a hybrid. It's called vertically integrated licenses, but they can do this weird little web.
Well,
But in
what
Florida,
about the
Hey,
meso and the micro?
we are talking Florida though, right? Does anything surprise you?
no, in Florida, you
Florida's
can't
not-
go outside
Yeah.
of your vertical. You have to cultivate what you cultivate,
Right.
brand what you brand, manufacture what you
Wow.
manufacture,
Right.
and then you can have as many retailers as you want.
Right.
Very valuable
Wow.
life.
So every store
if
you
you
go
have- if
into
you
in
have a-
Florida is that branded store.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you
Yeah.
can't.
So let me get
can't
this
sell
straight.
your
Let me get this
product
straight.
to
So if you
another.
go to a
Oh, so
store
the-
that's
the-
Coca-Cola, you only get to buy Coca-Cola.
Correct.
Wow.
Or what's happening, and what's happening is that. Sorry, Jared, I
No.
interrupt your question.
No, you're
So
good.
what's happening over in Florida is that Cookies wants to come in. So say True Leaf has, and this I'm just using as an example. True Leaf has a retail license. True Leaf has 123 retail stores. They have a manufacturing center and they have a cultivation center. True Leaf is manufacturing 15 different types of products, but they're all manufactured by True Leaf. They might use the IP and
I
the,
gotcha.
and the packaging
Yep.
from Cookies and say they're selling cookies, but they're growing True Leaf cultivated flower to sell up there. It is like vertical integration.
That's horrible.
And it's
But-
required.
horrible.
That's yeah.
It's
no.
mandated
horrible.
mandated by the thing. But so what you're saying is something and we're talking different languages there for a second. What you're saying is vertical integration should be allowed by choice and
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and Minnesota has made them
If you're a business
Right.
that knows how to run everything from the ground up,
Right.
why can't you have the ability to do that?
right.
Now, here's the good news.
So you're right about that.
This is what commercial cannabis, this is what we do. It's not just consulting and it's not just commercial real estate specifically for cannabis. We also connect dots. That's what we do.
Yep.
So
Yes.
we're making our rounds around
You have
the
something
actual
against
convention
seeds?
center right now is because we see someone that's got seeds.
Sorry. You're right.
We got something that's got seeds. We have someone that wants to cultivate. We need someone that's got extraction equipment.
Yes.
We piece them all together. Matter of fact, in my back pocket, we already have all kinds of resources, but we've got the cannabis. It's called the Commercial Cannabis Hub. And in that is when you get a license, you go, oh shit, I don't know where to go. You come to us. We're able to piecemeal a vertical integration together for you that works so that your business has got the best chances of succeeding and being successful.
Trusted.
No,
sites, trusted
that's
sources.
mighty kind of you. That's kind of what Meta does and used to do in Arizona. Now Meta USA is more focused on the marriage and the migration of brands with manufacturing and distribution centers across the country.
Listen, we're in this for a couple reasons. We absolutely love cannabis. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fun environment. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
This has been a great event.
And I mean, let's just cut to the chase. We like money too.
That's why I
like
came in the
money.
industry. I wasn't. Sorry, we don't need to talk about me. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, that's, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not in it for that, but the environment's a ton of fun. I love going to these social gatherings where we've got people just openly enjoying their favorite.
Everyone's having
Flower.
a good time.
So,
Everyone's in a
so
good
how,
mood.
how many of these licenses are being issued by the? Do you know the exact numbers by any chance of the 15 different classes?
Each classification is a little bit different. Like dispensaries, there's 38 on the first one. They said that there's going to be 100 by July 1st. Meso license, the first round's only 20. I believe they said on that one there's going to be a total of 50. Micros are, I think there's only 10. Delivery, or transportation is 10. Delivery is 20. Party planning is unlimited. So you can get a party planning license to set up
Yeah.
cannabis events.
But
Um,
I was going to say that not only have we been the SEA applicant window just closed at midnight on Monday.
Right.
The last 3 weeks have been utter chaos, insane. I mean-
That was how long the application portal was
The
open.
window was open,
Yep.
and it was
Yep.
just insanity. So when Tuesday hit, I think a lot of us slept in late. But
I
what
know I was
we've
counting
actually-
down 11. It was like 11:57.
Have they given us? Has the OCM
No,
given us the
no,
data yet?
No, nothing.
Okay.
We don't know how many came
Nothing.
in. We got a rough idea based on the application
The
number that you
numbering.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
so there's going to be
here's-
somewhere around 400, we believe.
Here's what we spend a lot of our time doing. So a lot of our time, I've been doing this for 18 months, is basically setting the groundwork, which means going to city council meetings, meeting with city planners, trying to figure out every city has to opt in. And even if they get a muni, by the way, if you're a city in Minnesota watching this, just because you think you're going to take a muni doesn't mean you're opting out. It doesn't
a
work
muni?
like that.
You
We're the first state in the whole union to have a muni. Munis.
So city can run their own dispensary or their own operation.
Oh, I love that.
So cities were thinking that would be a way for them not to have a privatized one, but the
Wow.
OCM
They
last
thought
minute
they
changed the
thought
law.
That's a Canadian idea. It's how like a lot of the Canadian ones work. They were owned by people.
let
They owned by
them-
You
Canada.
realize we're further north than most Canadians right now, right?
I felt it in the air.
Really?
But
Look at the map.
you know
Just a second.
the state
Not
run
quite.
look the state run the publicly run dispensary model it needs to be experimented with. I am an advocate of that as much as I
Wait,
am
you're
an
an advocate of the states having their own shops?
absolutely as long as they
That's
don't
socialism,
no,
man.
as
I
long
can't
as-
believe
no,
you're arguing
as long
socialism.
as they don't restrict the free enterprise and private individuals from doing what they want to do as well.
Correct.
The
Yes.
government should
See,
be allowed to do that.
our munis in the state of Minnesota, if it's a liquor store, no other private
Yeah.
liquor stores can open in the city.
Yeah.
That will not be like that
Wow.
for cannabis.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it
It's
does look
so
like
dumb.
it's further north than Toronto right
No,
now.
most of the people in Canada live on the border,
Mhm.
and we're further north than them. Look at.
Toronto.
Yeah,
Ontario.
it's, we're here.
You know what I mean there, eh?
Yeah. What is with the Canadians? That's something that I've never really understood.
We are way up
Too
here.
cold everywhere else. Oh yeah, we're way up.
Well, we're further north than Detroit.
That's right.
I knew the air was like thin up here, like felt a little dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like to say
because
around the equator.
altitude
That was just the event.
longitude are the
Well,
same thing.
Tom and
yeah.
Dimitri, I want to say thank you very much for having us on the show.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I wasn't done
We're
with
not
you yet.
done. We're
Yeah.
not done.
I wasn't. Are you? we're-
He's gonna wrap it up.
How
for
come
us.
I didn't- We were still going. Oh, we had a time.
Wrap it up.
I was about to talk about the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, no, we
Hey,
love
are you guys
Minnesota.
on any apps?
These guys.
What's that?
Are you on any apps?
Tell you what, we're on. If you want to check out our website, www.metarealtymn.com. On it, you can go to the cannabis tab, click on it. There's a password that you have to enter. It's really hard. It's a 3-digit cannabis number, 420, and then it'll let you in to the cannabis page. And that's where you
Folks,
can find us.
if Minneapolis had an archway like St. Louis, if it had a bridge, a gateway like San Francisco, it would be through Brock and Jared here. If you're coming into Minnesota, make sure you get in contact with them first because these guys really know their way around here. So we appreciate you guys being here.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time, guys.
Introducing yourself to the audience. And Tom, as always, thank you.
Let's go have some fun at CannaCon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
It's been a pleasure. All right.